Guys, this is another episode of Comic Book Weekly. So welcome to all of you. I am Mike Spider Slayer, and I have two people above me. One is Brant Fowler.
What's up, everybody?
And then next I have Kat Kamiguno, which is over here. No, over there. I don't know. Over there.
I'm somewhere.
It's over there. She's up there somewhere.
She's there.
Really, she's in another state, so she's way away. So, but on the screen, we're all together. But guys, yes, welcome to another episode. We got great news to talk about. We have our wonderful top 5 highly anticipated comic books that might be on the chopping block. And of course, we're going to take your guys' questions live. So hopefully you guys will have a great time with us tonight. And so, yeah, we'll get started. And Kat, I'll hand it off to you with the news. So go for it.
All right. We're going to start out with some comic news first. And first up is the 2021, there will be more Wildstorm properties explored. Honestly, I've never been a big Wildstorm fan, so this did not affect me that much.
I mean, it is what it is, right? It's just one of those things where it's just I think they're just trying to bring the property back a little bit, getting these characters back in the mix of things, and seeing if it sticks, and then we'll see what happens after that. They might strike out again. I think they're bringing that back Gen 13 too as well. So I don't know. We'll see. I guess there's a few characters in there. I think Brant, you might be more familiar with it than I am actually.
Yeah. I was like back when they were, still with Image and branching out. I was a big Wildcats fan. That was like one of my favorite books back in the 90s. But they haven't been really successful at bringing any of those characters back in a good way ever. I don't think. In my personal opinion, I haven't been able to connect with them since the original series. But I'm glad that they keep trying with them because I think they do have some really cool characters. I love Grifter. He's like one of my favorite characters from Wildstorm, and Voodoo was a really cool. I didn't like the way they did it in the New 52. So hopefully they'll be able to integrate them into DC a little bit more seamlessly and do something cool with them going forward.
Yeah, Grifter's in Batman, I believe. So if you want to catch up, maybe he'll be good in there.
I think it's issue 101. That's where he's coming 101. In. Yeah. Let me see. I got a couple of web heads that are on the show tonight. I got Bavarian that's on. And she says, hi, guys. And then I got the newest member on here, Davey Sides. He's part of Webhead Silver. So welcome, guys. And then welcome to everybody who's watching the show right now. Raphael says, hey, Mike, let me say it's your page that keeps me up to date and makes the collecting just that much better. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad I could help out. That's always my intention, even when I first started this channel, like eons ago. So I really appreciate it.
And we're going to go into the next topic, which is Linnell. I think you pronounced their first name. You leaves X-Men for the interior art. So the artist that has been doing X-Men since issue 1 is leaving. It's going to be weird. I feel like that's kind of been the vibe for X-Men. So curious to see where this book goes and why he left, or I don't know. I think it's a he, left so suddenly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a he. I don't know. Maybe he got another gig. Who knows? Maybe they're going a different direction. Maybe it's because of this whole X of Swords thing. I don't know. But it's gonna be. It's always weird when you have an artist on a book for a long time and then it changes. So.
Yeah, I like the artwork in the book as well. I thought it just. I don't know. It made the book stand out a little bit. It made it more like a. That flagship book that you expect from a book like X-Men, right? It was like that next level artwork. And now it's just, I have a feeling that, I mean, I could be wrong. We don't know who the artist is going to be in the future. But I mean, it's just like, it's kind of a disappointment because like you said, Brant, it's like you get accustomed to that style of art. So I just hope it doesn't drop off, you know?
We have some questions here, or one question. AJ409, is Doomsday Clock still canon? What's up with Tom King? I mean, I think it's canon. I don't know if anything really happened enough to say it was canon, right?
Yeah.
It was a. What happened? No,
yeah, exactly.
I'm honestly kind of baffled. I don't know if I have much words for it because it's a really good question.
Yeah, I think the only thing we know for sure is that Dr. Manhattan messed with the timeline, and that's still canon.
And we knew that from another book. Yeah, like we knew that from, I forget, I think it was DC Rebirth that revealed that. And
yeah,
I do remember when you're, what were you going to say, Mike?
I was going to say, well, with Death Metal, you have the Batman Who Laughs, who is the new, like, Dr. Manhattan. Like, you know what I'm saying? He took his brain or whatever, and he absorbed it into his body. And he's a Dr. Manhattan now. So it's like they combined it that way. Obviously, you know, Death Metal is kind of like in a different universe or a different Earth or whatever it is, but they kind of meshed it in that way. That's the only way I can relate back to it, you know?
I haven't even been reading Death Metal. What are you going to say, Brian?
Me either. No, go.
So there you go. Yeah, I just haven't been reading Death Metal. And I don't know if it's really affects my reading because I think it goes back to like, what is DC planning? I don't think they know what they're planning. So that's why I feel like some of this overall big plot stuff feels a little mushy to me.
Yeah, I don't think Doomsday Clock had the impact that it was meant to have. And again, we've talked about this in the past with all the massive delays with it and everything. It just, their plans kind of shifted and it wasn't as important in the long run. So,
yeah.
And I feel like we had another question. Well, there's a comment. Ruben says, read Strange Adventures if you like, read Strange Adventures if you like Tom King. I actually dropped Strange Adventures. I didn't really like it. I liked Mr. Miracle a lot. I liked his vision. Could not get into Strange Adventures. I just thought it was the same thing he keeps doing over and over again. There wasn't anything really new to it for me.
I never even gave it a chance, unfortunately.
I like it. I missed a lot, so I need to catch up. But I like it. It's a little slow. I like the mystery aspect of it, but it's a little slow. Vision was phenomenal for me. I haven't read Mr. Miracle, but I love Vision.
Tevye has a question. Why haven't you read Death Metal? I read the first issue and honestly it just wasn't for me. I read all Metal and I just felt like I don't like using the word wasting money because I don't think anything's a waste of money when you're supporting creators. But for me personally, I didn't get the enjoyment I wanted. So I promised myself when Death Metal came along, I wouldn't do that. I would try it out. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't read it. Now, I will say I have a feeling for work I'm going to have to read it. So I might have to catch up on it. But on my pull list, it's not on my pull list right now.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. I dropped Metal like 3 or 4 issues in because I just wasn't enjoying it, and I tried this one and I read the issue, whatever book it was that Superboy Prime came back recently. I read that and that was okay.
Recent issue,
so I read that.
Speed Metal, was that what it was?
No, that was the Trinity something.
Yeah, the Trinity one.
Yeah, it was last week that it came out where Superboy Prime showed up. Yeah, and you know, I don't mind Metal. I think it's okay. For me though, it doesn't blow me away because again, there's just so much for me when it comes to DC, and it's not knocking it, but for me this is kind of just like there's so much that goes into the DC universe. It's like it's a lot of convoluted stuff, and then with just Metal, it just adds to it. But it is kind of cool. Like I like the characters, I like the artwork, I like all the different Batmans. Like I think that's kind of cool. I like, you know, how Wonder Woman is in the series. So I like it enough to where I'm still reading it, and I find some elements like pretty neat. But it's not like my most favorite event that I ever read. You know, I feel like you know how people feel about Marvel tie-ins. when it comes to an event, I feel like there's too many tie-ins for this. It's kind of the same thing, you know.
The whole entire lineup for DC, I feel like it's just been death metal.
You're right. That's what they're really focusing on. Yeah.
All right, Brant, did you have any more comments for that? He's on a massive delay now.
I did, but yeah, I think I might be
delayed. I think Brant's gonna hopefully try fixing his delay. I don't know how that's. Maybe Brant, do you think you could try your phone, or probably not?
Or restart your internet, maybe.
Yeah, I'll do something. I'm a forerunner.
Okay. All right, so let's go into the next news piece, which is MODOK comic coming from the showrunners of the Hulu show. Probably not going to get this, but the reason I want to discuss is I just think it was really cool that we're getting someone from the creative team of the show to make a comic. That way, maybe for people who like the show to read it, it's like a kind of interesting way to cross promote the mediums.
Yeah, it's a crossover. I think it gets people that might read comics, check out the show, and the show check out the comic. And I think that's pretty cool. And, you know, you never know. Maybe it does cross over into the show. Maybe they'll say, hey, if you want to check out what happens in this story, check out the comic book. You know, I would love to see that. I like MODOK. I think he's kind of a comical character, you know, and I always am curious to see what he's up to. You know, I just find it funny that it's this big thing floating around with little legs and little arms, you know, but yeah, I might check it out just to see what it's about. Or maybe it depends on the week on how many books come out or whatnot. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, always dependent on the week. And that's all the comic news. So we're going to go into some media news, which there's a lot of big pieces this week. So let's get into it. First, just something I wanted to discuss, which was Harley Quinn getting renewed. Love this show. I love where it ended. And I'm super excited for season 3. And I'm just happy it got renewed. So that's my small little comment about Harley Quinn being renewed. Next up is WandaVision trailer. So that was a surprise. Wasn't expecting a trailer. We got a trailer. Looks really good. I think what's so cool about these shows is that we can kind of get the highbrow storytelling we know from the golden age of television, which we're at now, with these favorite Marvel properties. And it looks good.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, right? It was just like, it's like, obviously they're in something, but something's not right, and just weird. But I like seeing these two together. I think it's going to be overall a good show. I no doubt in my mind. And when these Marvel shows start coming out, you know, a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, Disney, you know, Plus doesn't have anything, which is true. They have very little new content, but they have a lot of stuff to watch. This thing is going to explode, and everybody is going to be talking about it, whatever show it is. You know, WandaVision, Loki, She-Hulk, you know, all these other shows that are going to come out. It's going to be huge. And this is kind of going to be like Marvel all over again. Instead of the big screen, it's going to be on the small screen. And that's what people are going to be talking about. And I have a feeling that, you know, we could see things possibly tie together in the TV universe as well. So I don't know, but I'm excited for it when this finally comes all out.
Yeah, it shows that, you know, you got to mix the bag a little bit. If you want to continue to be successful, you can't be stale and keep doing the same things. And now Marvel going to television, just, you know, changing the game. And that's really cool. Let's see if Brant is back. WandaVision we're talking about. Either he's just really intensely thinking, or
he looks like a statue.
He was definitely intensely thinking. We definitely have talked about this, but maybe our thoughts have changed. AJ asks, Spider Slayer, who is Kindred? Peter Parker's dad? Question mark. I don't think it's his dad. I have a couple of theories. I'm gonna say I'm actually I guess I could say this. I'm writing an article for Newsrama, talking about the suspects for Kindred. So look forward to that. And we've done a video on this channel. I've done 2 on my channel.
Stacy, right?
Yeah, Gwen.
My early thought process was
Harry, I think we all thought.
Who?
Harry Osborn.
Well, yeah, Harry was another one. I even said early on it was Boomerang, as he got some kind of, like, there was this mystical thing that he had or whatever it was, and I thought maybe he was trying to set Peter up. I don't know.
I'd be disappointed if it was Boomerang.
You know, but there's so many things going on. I think even a couple people were like thinking that it could be Flash, that maybe it's him. It's hard. It's hard, and I am tired of waiting. I need to find out already.
Hopefully that issue, 850. Another good theory I've heard, and I've been really thinking about, is One More Day Peter Parker would make a lot of sense, just because of how much One More Day has been involved. So that could be kind of cool. Yeah, there's a lot of good theories. Let's just hope it definitely meets our expectations. It's gonna be.
Can you imagine if it's somebody like we've never seen before, and it's just
man, I'd be so
random
upset.
guy?
I would be so upset if that happened.
It's J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, if it's him, there's so many, like, even Flash Thompson, I'd be like a little disappointed, but at least there's a lot of good story possibilities there. So even if it's someone like, oh, we knew that was going to happen, like, all right, think about when Thor, when that was revealed. A lot of people knew it was Jane. We called it was Jane a long time ago. But the reason why it didn't matter is because Jane Foster was such an interesting character to have in that mantle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, like, I didn't really mind the wait. Yes, it was a long wait, but because it ended up being Jane Foster and there was just such a really cool story to tell, I hope it's in that regard. Like, because I think no matter what's not going to surprise us. So make it the character that's going to tell a good story. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a head scratcher. That's really what it is. And I'm so at the point now where it's just like, God dang, just tell me already, because I'm tired of speculating on it.
Same. It's been too long. But let's get into going back to Marvel Television. Marvel TV cast their She-Hulk, and it is the actress from Orphan Black. It is Tatiana Maslany.
I don't even think I watched that show. So I really, like, I'm bad when it comes to actors. So, like, I was looking at, like, images of her, and obviously there's a lot of images of her, and it looks like she could play the part, at least, you know, as
for sure,
you know.
And she's a good actress from what I know. I've only seen the pilot of Orphan Black, but she's played like 20,000 different characters on that show. She was nominated for an Emmy. I don't know if she got if she won. She might have. I don't remember. But yeah, I think it's a great actress, and I'm super excited for She-Hulk. Love the character, and I think a TV show, there's so many possibilities.
Do we not have we don't have a release date though on that at all?
No
speculation on that. No
release date. And also, all we know is that WandaVision is coming out this year, and what's it called? The Captain America show was supposed to come out this year, but it doesn't look like it's coming out this year. So things are already delayed. I don't think She-Hulk is going to be coming out anytime soon, but it's still cool that we're getting some information about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for She-Hulk though, man, because it's kind of like Marvel's loophole to get around. So it's okay. Well, we don't have Hulk. We can't use Hulk. Then we're going to use She-Hulk, and I like that. And I think she's a cool character. Just overall, you can really explore her, and you know, you can create good depth for a TV show for her, especially like if she's a lawyer.
Yeah, I think there's so many cool things you could do with it. We do have a question from Sweet Exorcist. This is for you, Mike. Would you consider doing a video with a Spider-Man reading order for beginners? I think that could be your most successful video.
Man, oh man, that's a hard one, right?
That also sounds like a lot of work.
Reading order for beginners. Yeah, God, yeah. I mean, I would consider it. It's just a matter of me executing it, right? That's the thing. Like, I always have a lot of video ideas in my head, and when it comes to me making these videos, it takes a lot of time. Like, so the videos that you see me make, I plan them out like 5 days in advance. And so I got to create the lists and I got to create all the things. And it's cool. I like doing it. I love doing it. But then it's the editing that takes a lot of the time. And then I try to do things where it's news pieces, hot topics, and things like that. So for a video like that, that would have to be something that takes time. But yeah, I would definitely consider it. Give people a guide on where to start when it comes to Spider-Man, especially now since there's so many different volumes. But yeah, that's something that's always on the table. It's a good suggestion, and I really appreciate it.
We have another question from Tevia. For you, Mike, any opinion on what's going on? I guess axing of Mary Jane will return to Amazing Spider-Man.
I'm sure she will. I mean, the fact of the matter being is that I feel like Nick Spencer kind of just threw people for a loop for a second. They're like, oh yeah, Mary Jane is back. Just kidding. We're going to give her her own series so she doesn't have to be in the Amazing Spider-Man book, but yet she's together with Peter, and so she doesn't make her appearance for the longest time. So I feel like it was kind of like Nick Spencer was smart about the situation. They're together, but she's not in the book.
I think also that's like an editorial thing because maybe Nick Spencer actually wanted her in the book, but I think it's just like, oh, well, we have this new series. And it really is because of COVID, because, she wasn't, it's supposed to be like a maxi series or whatever. And then, the series is supposed to continue and now it's delayed. Is it even happening? So it's a bit more complicated. Hopefully we will see her. We'll see. All right. So let's get into our last topic, I believe, and that is the thing everyone's talking about today, which is Supergirl ending. So we got the news that the show, I don't know if it was canceled or not, but it's ending this season. I think there's a lot of different reasons why. A, probably COVID. B, there's a new Superman show coming out. And then C, Melissa just had a baby. So maybe she's like, all right, my contract's over. I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different moving parts there. I don't think the show has been as good as it used to be. I haven't even watched the last season, so I understand, but I think a lot of these other shows haven't been as good as they used to be either. Like, why is Flash still on? And it's a shame, like, their first female led series is the earliest to end, and to be replaced with the male series Superman that we've had 20,000 shows of and so many seasons of. I think that part is a shame.
I just think the show's ran its course, and I think that a lot of these superhero shows have ran its course also. I just look at it and I'm like, look at how many years Arrow was on, right? And it's just like, and we've been getting these shows now for how long, Kat? How many years?
Ooh,
how long?
Probably
10?
9 now. I think about 9 because Arrow was season 8, and then that just ended. So this should be the 9th year.
Okay. So you're looking around 9 years, and then you got The Walking Dead, and you got a few other things in there. But when you're looking at those shows, eventually they really run their course. Eventually, people get tired. You got Stargirl that's on right now. That's the newest show, and then obviously the whole situation was going on with Batwoman. So they're still on, but I just think they're just not as strong. And then everything has a fad, right? I mean, CW eventually is going to change their lineup of what they're going to have. And it just, like anything else, it just runs its course. So it is what it is.
Yeah, hopefully it's a good last season and it goes out on a high. I actually enjoyed Arrow's last season for the most part. I don't think it had the best last episode, but I had a pretty good last season. So hopefully Supergirl is the same. I think it's going to be like 20 episodes or so. So we'll see. Obviously, we're going to talk about that because that was the big news from today. But let's get into, something we've been kind of doing differently, and I kind of like that we're doing it, is talk about the main topic now. So we're going to discuss, I know Brett's not here, but hopefully he'll come soon. Yeah, the main topic being that new Joker suit. So the cliffhanger of that, it kind of looks a little bit like that blue suit that everyone's complaining about with that obviously didn't end up happening with Batman.
I think it is. And I think he just like totally trashed it with like spray paint and all kinds of stuff. He's got that purple cloak on there, and I think that's what he did. I'm totally sure that it's kind of what he did, because you look at the blue emblem on there. It's like it looks just like it, so he put his Joker smile on there as well. I think it's funny, and Batman's face on that page, on that last page, is kind of hysterical. He's like,
it's kind of like a little haunting too, because I didn't really realize that lighting, like that yellow lighting. I'm like, it looks like we're ready for Halloween.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I thought it was kind of cool, and it's kind of like the icing on the cake there. Like, he's taken everything from Batman, and now he's taken that suit that really meant something special to him. When it was supposed to be that perfect Gotham or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I'm like looking at it right now, and it's just like, what an asshole. Like, in this issue, he like totally destroyed everything. Like, we'll talk about this issue while we're on the topic, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at it, he dug up Alfred, for crying out loud. Like, that's just insane. And so for Batman to see Alfred, he probably thought he was tripping once again on that, on that toxin, and so that's kind of freaky, and then that was just insane. So Batman has really gone through so much, and then when you look at Gotham in itself in this issue, it's just been torn apart by like the clowns and the Joker and everything else, and now our heroes are left scrambling around. What are they going to do? It looks like we're going to get Nightwing finally back, which is kind of cool, because Batman's just like, here, it's time for you to wear this. You're Nightwing again. And but we don't see him in action. There was a lot of standing around in this issue, but I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. I like the moments with Harley and Bruce in here too, because she's like, dude, you just got to take Joker down. Like, you got to kill him. And he's like, no, I can't do that, Harley. I can't kill him. And in many ways, I feel like Harley's right, because the key thing is when Joker comes back, what's he going to do to up this ante, So I kind of see her point of view here. And but I thought it was a good issue, and the ending was kind of cool. It'll be cool to see how this final battle takes place.
Yeah, and we'll get to Brand's thoughts after, but I really enjoyed Batman a lot, and for all the reasons you said, I really liked the Harley moment, and I liked the cliffhanger, but I especially enjoyed the Bat family. I like seeing them together and just fighting together, and it was a really good penultimate issue to an issue 100. Now we are on Brand, so Brand, we did talk about the news, but if you want to talk about the Joker topic first, and then Batman issue 99, and we'll go back to some of your thoughts for the news.
Okay. Yeah, Batman issue 99 was a really good issue. The Alfred stuff was, not unexpected, but freaky. And it was just, I love the way it was illustrated. It was just, it was just evil and twisted and perfect for them. I'm still enjoying Joker War. I think it's been solid all the way through. I love seeing the Bat family all together and him leaning on them finally. Pretty solid issue. And Joker's costume, it's just another mind game. So, it makes perfect sense, and it looks kind of cool. So, yeah, it'll be temporary. But as far as the news, the only thing I wanted to mention was the WandaVision trailer. Sorry, I'm still on a delay. If it gets bad again, I'll bow out. The WandaVision trailer is just all kinds of awesome for me. It looks so quirky and weird, and all the, cutting in and out to, 50s TV shows and that kind of thing. I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool. So that is Brand's thoughts on WandaVision. Hopefully stays with us and his internet works well enough. So we're going to get into Under the Radar. Michael's not here, so I'll pass on to Mike to start with Under the Radar.
All right, so it's comic talk time. The real quick though, I wanted to ask you guys, like, James Tynion, I never know how to say his name, Tynion. His story here has been pretty good. Do you guys think that he's going to stay on Batman going forward?
I hope so. I think so. I feel like this is the dream job right now. So I think he's going to be on for a little while. He was on Detective for a good amount of time. I don't know if it's going to be as long as like Scott Snyder or even Tom King. But I think he has a lot of story to tell still.
I don't think it needs to be that long. We've seen with both Scott Snyder and Tom King how old that got after a while. But both of them were very strong at the beginning, and Tynion, again, very strong. He seems to grasp Batman, and I think it's cool, and I hope he's there for a while at least.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's been great. We also got a comment in here saying the issue was good. It just needed more punchline and Clown Hunter in it, in my opinion. When it comes to punchline, I think we've seen a good amount with her. That I'm not disappointed with. Clown Hunter, at this point, I feel like we do need to see more of him, especially if this is getting wrapped up in the next issue. So, or is he just a tease in this whole grand scheme of things, and then he's going to be in future issues of the series going forward? Right?
And see, that's what I rather. I like that they introduced Clown Hunter. I don't need to see him now because there's a lot going on. I don't need him to be squeezed in or even punchline. Just make it organic and let's see him that way. So, no, I'm cool that we haven't seen him yet because that means there's even more story to tell. And again, we'll have room for it.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I agree with that.
Just realized my mic was not on my Yeti and it was on my earphones. So sorry if the sound wasn't as good as it usually is.
All right, so we're going to go on to Under the Radar. And I'm going to hand it to Kat for her Under the Radar. This book's been going on forever. Every once in a while, it pops up in there.
I can't wait until it's over. This issue, again, and I always say this every single time it does pop up. There's out of 10 issues, there's one good one. And this is the one good one. We're kind of getting closer to the end. It's Outcast issue 46. I think we have like 2 issues left. And I enjoyed this because, again, things are kind of coming to a head. We get to see the Outcasts versus their villains. I still have I did a review for this, obviously, for my channel. And I said it there. I'm going to say it here. I still have no clue what this book's about. And that's horrible. It's 40-something issues in. I don't really know exactly what the story's about. But I like the characters enough that I want to see it through. And I guess that's a Robert Kirkman thing at this point. But yeah, all the Outcasts are holding hands. They got electricity coming out of their eyes. That's the end of the issue. Not bad. Some good character moments. See how this one ends. I hope it's all worth it after spending so much time on it.
That's funny, man. Outcast. It's just like, you don't hear anything about it for months. And then all of a sudden it's like, Outcast, there it is.
Secret Outcast. But it's not in my top 5. So, but it isn't Under the Radar. So it was, again, a good issue.
All right, Brant. So it looks like you have Goosebumps, Secret of the Swamp, issue 1. It was digital, so that was under your radar. So tell us about it.
Yeah, the digital came out this week, and the physical comes out next week. For anybody that's curious, it was pretty good. And the reason I wanted to read it in the first place was because Yasmin did the art for it, and she did a variant cover for The Last Ember. So I was like, already invested, and it's Goosebumps, so I've always try stuff like that. And it was really good. It was focused on a girl that moved in with her aunt and didn't know anybody in this small, swampy, sleepy town. And she's a gamer, and she realizes that there's another gamer that, like a really popular gamer, that lives there. And she also has she lost her arm, so she's got like a mechanical arm, and there's this whole thing about how do you game with that, and she's like, I handle myself pretty well. And but the whole thing is, this whole town is like, there's rumors about monsters and that kind of thing, and it's kind of cheesy and everything, but then they run into an actual werewolf. So it was classic Goosebumps, but fun. And the art and the story was a really slice of life, so I think you'd like that aspect of it, Kat. But yeah, it was a good first issue.
From what I saw from the panels, it looked really slice of life and fun in that way. I'll have to give it a shot. It looks fun, sounds fun. We also got $5 from Jesus, so thank you, or Jesus. Thank you so much for watching the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's awesome. Glad you're enjoying it. We also have a question. Where'd it go? I lost it now.
You remember who said it?
I thought I did.
To Mike Manhattan? It's the last question I see.
Oh, AJ409, going back to the Batman thing, said, which suit was it before he Jokerized it? So if you read, was it an issue 2 of this Joker War thing? We got to see if Batman, he has an actual suit where it's used for, I guess, when he was to save Gotham, that he would wear. It was like this blue suit or whatnot. It was kind of cool. So it's just the suit that Joker stole. It just graffitied it up with spray paint. That's all it was. So Batman will probably destroy it because his dream will never come true.
Just like all his dreams.
Yeah, all his dreams are crushed. I have no family. I have no life. All right. Let's see. So I guess we'll go on to my under the radar, and this is thanks to all the people out there that are like, you need to read this, Mike. Why did you stop reading it? Because I only read the first issue of it. This was Hellions issue 4. And I read the first issue, and for some reason I didn't like it. Maybe I read it while I was in bed, and that's never a good thing to do for me when I'm reading. And so I know I picked it up in the last issue of the story arc. But I thought it was actually good. Brant, do you read this or no?
No. I think maybe I read the first issue and didn't care for it either. I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah, I think I only read the first one. Maybe.
Spoilers, like Madeline Pryor gets shot and looks like she gets killed in this issue.
Oh wow. And
yeah, sorry I spoiled it. I shouldn't have done that. Actually.
No, it's fine.
That's what this show is about.
I should have gave people a spoiler warning.
Yeah, we didn't do our spoiler alert.
Yeah,
because I'm in charge, so we're not. Yeah, I haven't done any of the banners. I don't even know where it is.
Yeah,
it's in the brand. Yeah, brand. There you go. And
Alex Summers is just goes haywire. And they wind up destroying is Mr. Sinister's cloning factory that's gone south. So that's what that was a mission that they were on that they had to destroy. And so he totally went apeshit when she got killed, and he destroyed everything around him, which was kind of cool. But then you're kind of just left hanging oh my God, she's not dead. She's got to be coming back some way or another. But you're kind of wondering, okay, well, what's next with her? She was actually rejected from the resurrection process. They asked permission, but since she was a clone, they rejected her. And so Scott goes to Alex and says, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about this. And that's kind of how the issue ends. So it's really kind of a sad situation. So I thought it was actually really good. I mean, it's not in my top 5 because I felt like there was other books in there but I was like, wow, this is good. And I'm going to check out the next story arc.
Cool.
It sounds better than it was. That's good to hear.
Definitely.
Yeah, it actually was. All right. So that was our Under the Radar. So we're going to go on to the big books. These were the books that were released this week that we thought were big and that we're going to talk about. And so the first book that we're going to talk about is an independent book. And this one is from Image Comics. This one's done by Chip Zdarsky. This was a lot of buzz. And this was Stillwater issue 1. What'd you guys think of it?
I was shocked by this. I went into it not knowing anything. I just knew Chip Zdarsky wrote it. I'm like, all right, let me give it a shot. The cover looks really cool. it was just really well written. From the first 2 pages, you see him get fired. You're like, shit, I like this guy. And then you see his friends, and then he has a bad day. Obviously, he's throwing up after he drank too much at the bar, and then he realizes he's getting a lot of money from this estate he didn't know about. So he's like, all right, I like money. Let's go. And they go to this town of Stillwater where no one dies except his friend because he's on the outskirts of the town. And then he finds out his mom lives there. And there's this all this really crazy stuff that happens, and a really well done issue. I really liked it. I was shocked by it. And again, just really well done pacing for me.
Yeah, I actually really liked it too. And I'm nothing against Chip Zdarsky. Just a lot of the times his stuff doesn't connect with me. But this one, it really did. For all the reasons Kat said, it just kind of, it pulled you into the character, and then it pulled you into the town, and then the overall story of, oh, he's actually from there. And that kind of, sorry, spoiler, but it was just, I was totally invested, and it took me by surprise.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just kind of weird because it's like when you found out that you go in there, you're pretty much invincible. But if you leave there, you're vulnerable again. Yeah. And I thought, wow, that is really weird. I can't wait to see all the stories and everything that's going to go into this comic book, and then just who brought, he got a letter saying that he had an inheritance or something like that.
I think it might have been the mom.
You think it was the mom that did that?
To lure him back into the town. I don't know. I think that's what's so cool about this book is that you just got the right amount of information, and there's just so much other possibilities. You really don't know where the series is going.
And then our main character, I forgot his name, but he definitely has a short fuse, and it gets him in a lot of trouble. And I think that could continue to plague him as the series goes on.
Yeah. See what ends up happening.
What did Serenity say? Serenity says, never heard of it, but that sounds like a preview page I saw on the back of a book. 2 guys in a town where no one dies, so kids are killing themselves.
That's it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's
it.
where it's from.
It's weird that they showed that snippet because that's not the beginning of the series. It's
no.
middle of the issue.
Right.
I tend not to read those previews in the back because if I'm going to buy the book, I don't.
But that's what made me buy the book, though. Really? Yeah, because I read that and I was like, "This sounds interesting," and then I saw Chip Zdarsky's name attached to it. I'm like, that really looks good. And then I was like, I like the artwork. I mean, I like when they show previews like that because, especially for independent books, when it comes to Marvel and DC, it's like Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk, those people. But for an independent, you got to throw that pitch. You know that, Kat. You know that brand. You got to throw that pitch. And that's that pitch to get those people to buy those books,
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah, I tend to look at them. I just don't tend to read them. The previews.
Right.
Yeah.
I like looking at the solicits usually, so I'll read, pretty much all issue 1 solicits and be like, all right, that sounds cool. That sounds up my alley. Let's see, and then I'll look up a preview. And I'm like, all right, what does this art look like? And then I'm like, oh, never mind. That looks great.
Yeah, but I think people will really like this story. Definitely worth it for sure. All right. Let's move on to another number 1 that was released. And this is Iron Man issue 1. So we got Iron Man back to basics. Tony Stark pretty much on a he's on a midlife crisis. The dude's just I'm not gonna have any high-tech shit. I'm just gonna ride around with muscle cars. I'm gonna play pranks on people, throw magnetic pulses in each other. So yeah, I thought it was actually a pretty good issue. I thought a cat when I saw Patsy in there.
I was so happy, but also confused why Patsy was in this issue.
Right.
Not in a bad way. I love that Patsy was here. I think it worked for the issue, but I'm like, oh, I never knew Patsy really had a relationship with Iron Man.
Right.
She just happened to be there, and then she tags along. But I like the humor in the book. I thought the humor was really well done. I know I put that in my panels with the whole when Unicorn was in a library and they're like, oh, does he have a freaking library card and stuff like that? I thought it was cool, and I thought the artwork was really well done too. But yeah, I thought it was awesome, man. I thought it was a pretty good book. Definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, this was like finally Iron Man's back. I thought it was a really well done issue. I liked the art, and I liked that it was back to basics, but didn't feel that it was trying too hard to go back to basics. It had something new to say about like social media and Twitter or whatever. And I liked the villain a lot in the end. I thought it was a really well done first issue.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that Twitter thing was hilarious actually, because it's just like, he's like, no matter what I do, like I can't do it right. And he's just like, this is part of my like little midlife crisis because everyone's dogging on me. So screw this. I'm going to close my account. So I like that. I thought that's really kind of fitting for the today society, because you see a lot of celebrities, you know, they sit there and they go, well, if you have nothing positive to say, or if you don't like anything, what, you know, screw this. I don't want to deal with it anymore. So I thought it was cool. And, you know, where Iron Man goes from here is still kind of yet to be determined, but I thought it was good. It was a good issue. I think I like this issue better than what I read from Dan Slott's run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Even though Wasp does show up in this issue, and she's like, yeah, bye.
Yeah, that was kind of just like, they were just kind of like, he was like, I don't want to spend any time on this. I just want to let everybody know is that they're not together. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we got to address this, but, you know, is what it is. So
yeah. Because I think he wants nothing to do with Dan Slott's run whatsoever. I think he just wants to.
Which I don't mind. Even though I'm going to miss, I didn't read as much about Iron Man. I'm going to miss seeing a place that Janet could possibly show up, because she just doesn't show up anywhere. But no, I think it's great that he's doing something totally different. And again, I guess using Patsy as the new Janet, not romantically, because I don't know if they'll be in a romantic relationship here, but it's just like, where's Pepper? We're going to add Patsy instead.
Right. Yeah, exactly. We'll add another female in there, but it's cool that he gets to work with somebody else. Maybe it could be only for this story arc, whatever the case may be. But I like seeing different characters that we don't see on the normal basis, and it gets the reader exposure to that particular character, right? So I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I think all of us liked Iron Man, but from what I'm seeing from the comments, people didn't quite like Iron Man issue 1. Interesting to see that.
Yeah, that is interesting. I really like it.
I mean, some people might expect Iron Man to be, you know, this high-tech certain story, but again, the way comics are these days is stories tend to be drawn out more. It takes more time to flesh out stories, and you're going to see kind of Iron Man go through this process. I think you're going to see Tony go through this process.
I also like when you deconstruct a character and kind of boil them back to basics and kind of, you know, you've done all this, and then now let's take a step back and see what's at the core of the character and kind of build back up from there. So I think that's what he's trying to do with this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Tevi has a comment. He didn't like it because he felt that makes Dan Slott's Iron Man pointless. But I feel like that's most books that relaunch to a new creative team. Like Donny Cates and Jason Aaron have two completely different Thors. Doesn't make Jason Aaron's Thor useless or, you know, bad. It just, that's how comics work. You got to put, especially mainstream comics and Marvel and DC, you put the toys back in the toy box, and then you have another creator do something else with it. Sometimes you'll see characters grow, and sometimes you'll see characters do different things. Like Jane Foster, we saw her up her own Valkyrie series, and we get to see different story beats that way. But a lot of times they put the reset button, as we even see with Nick Spencer's Spider-Man. It's just kind of the way comics works. So I don't think Dan Slott, you know,
it's like you said, Kat, like it's like you know, you see a different version of Captain America, you saw the different version of Spider-Man with Superior. There's just all these guys have their way of writing a particular character. What they do with them is what they do with them. Batman, same thing. Tom King, like look at Tom King's story that he wanted to tell, and now look at this story that Tynion wants to tell, right? So it's just everyone has their own interpretation or story that they want to write. Sometimes a particular writer, I feel, stays on a book too long. I think that is an issue, right? They don't know when to call it quits. And so we can also compare that with Brian Michael Bendis and Superman, right? Peter J. Tomasi had, I felt, a fantastic Superman, built up the character, got the Superman family together, you know, especially with John and Superboy and all that stuff. And then look at what Bendis did with Superman from there, right? Aged up, Superboy, did all these different things. And so everything that Tomasi did, Michael Bendis had his own agenda. And so, again, everybody is different. They're all going to do what they want to do. And that's just the way it is. And just hopefully when a writer is done writing that particular character, they leave, you know, enough there to where the new writer can kind of start over with that particular character. So yeah. All right. So that was Iron Man. We talked about Batman already. So we're going to jump into our number 5. And my number 5 actually was 7 Secrets from Tom Taylor. What did you guys think about this issue of 7 Secrets this time?
The twist at the end was everything for me. I think I enjoyed the series, and I love like learning about this character and how he came to be there and all that. And you're kind of slowly learning about all the holders and keepers and all that stuff. But that twist of where that character's future was just like, oh, okay, that changes everything. So that was really cool.
I like this issue a lot because of that. You know, I think a second issue is always really hard because it's just like a pilot for a TV show. Like, how do you keep doing the same thing with still being fresh and still keeping to the structure? And this did a really good job at, you know, our main character, if he's our main character after the end. He wasn't in the first issue. Now we get to see him, what his life was like, him not really growing up with his parents, but them still being there and learning more about the society. And yeah, the ending really made it for me, where you find out the narrator doesn't make it. And it kind of goes back to that parallel we kept talking about with Saga, where it's kind of the reverse. I mean, spoiler alert for Saga, but it's kind of interesting how that's being played with. And yeah, I really like this issue a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you for everything that you said. You want to know, you really want to know, like, what this boy has gone through, and you go through his, you know, everything that, you know, he went through in school, and the ending was just awesome. I just love it. And just, again, the character work in this book is phenomenal. And right away, again, he makes you feel for these characters. And it's just like, you know that Tom Taylor has a special gift if you already feel for characters in issue 2, for characters that you have nothing about, you know? And I think that's awesome. So overall, good book. If anybody out there has not checked out 7 Secrets, go ahead, check it out.
Absolutely.
You know, all my expectations so far have been met for sure when it comes to this book. Yeah. So great stuff here. All right. So, Brant, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is actually Stillwater.
Cool. All right. And Kat, what's yours?
Mine is Dead Day, issue 3, not 5. Issue 3. Yeah, I've been really
my number 6. Yeah.
Your number 6, so close to it. Yeah. It was a good week for comics. So it was kind of hard to make a top 5. But yeah, this was a really interesting issue where we get to see a little bit more of that drama between the mom and her ex-lover, and her bringing her ex-lover to the house, which is kind of cool.
Oh my God.
Right? And then the big reveal that that's his son. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And what I really love about this book is the communication. I think other books would make that drama, like hiding that secret is the book. And this, I have a feeling the husband knows about the son and knows about this guy. And I think that's a special, different type of story to tell.
Yeah. I also liked that with the friend that killed him, that it wasn't like this big thing. It was just like, dude, it was just money. I'm greedy.
Yeah.
I love the simplicity of that. Yeah.
He stabbed him in the back, man. He was a freaking greedy person, you know? The ending, I was just like, this husband must really, not the guy with the biker helmet, but the husband must really like his wife, like really, really love her, man. Because for her to even go out and do this,
and trust her too, because it's like, whoa, that's a good relationship.
Yeah, and then now it's just like, and now she brings him to the house, and he's all shot up again. I just thought it was crazy. And then you got the boy dealing with his little girlfriend or whatever out there, whatever they're doing.
My girlfriend,
not girlfriend. You made that very clear.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, okay, but the wannabe girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about this book. It's like so many kind of interesting, different type of relationships that we don't usually get to see in comics. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the characters more than Dead Day. I honestly don't even know what Dead Day is really about. Like, I don't, the actual people coming back to the dead's like, whatever. But these characters are super interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a good book.
Yeah, I love the characters too. And it's like, nothing is like paint by numbers here. It's all like, it feels like real life, it's like, I you don't want to be my girlfriend? No, I just want to save you.
I just really or kill you.
Or kill you. Or sacrifice you, for our weird cult. Yes.
So weird, man. It's good though. I can't wait to see what happens or how long it goes, but great story. I'm glad we've discovered this one,
Oh, for sure.
These are the ones that are hard to find because this one's from Aftershock. So, sometimes these are the books that, tend to slip through the cracks and you don't realize that it's there. Because some shops don't don't carry these books. Like you have to special order these or make a request, like if you see it through previews or whatever the case may be. Or a shop may only get like 1 or 2 copies and then you miss out on it and you don't even know it comes out. So these are the tough ones, man. Unless the shop is
indies.
Right. Unless the shop is bold and sits there and goes, I'm gonna carry 20 copies of Dead Day.
That's very bold.
Yeah, that's very bold. You don't see that, So at least this is why you got the internet to, have people like us tell you if this book is good or not. So I definitely suggest it.
We actually have a couple questions, so we're going to answer those. So Jason A., just because we've actually got a lot of people asking this question, wait, is the 3 Jokers in the main DC universe? I actually, I did an interview with artists for the book, and I asked the same question. And they said there are story threads that could be picked up. If people decide to pick it up, they can. So I think that's the same thing with Doomsday Clock. It's just like if other writers pick it up, it'll be canon. If they don't, then it's not.
It's very ambiguous.
It is. It's very ambiguous. And I guess we'll see how it ends and if there's a possible sequel that can happen. But I guess the answer is, I don't know. Next question from Zombie Dance. Have you guys read Finger Guns? It's damn good. An incredible coming age story. Could not get into it. I know a lot of people love it. Couldn't get into that one.
I read the first 2 issues of it, and I felt like for me there just wasn't enough to it, right? I felt like it lacked in the story. It was just kind of like, hey, we got these finger guns. Hey, we're just all of a sudden, and I just was like, I don't know. I just couldn't grasp it. Like when I look at Paper Girls, like I was almost, I guess, trying to compare myself from that to in Paper Girls. And Paper Girls, that's a great coming of age story for me. Like there was a lot there with those characters. Brian K. Vaughan wrote a phenomenal story there. And so when I saw this, I was just like, and I read the first couple issues, I was like, man, I just can't get into it. Like this was a book I really wanted to like, and I just couldn't get into it, unfortunately.
I thought there were some interesting concepts with it, like the girl with her, I can't remember if it was her father or stepfather.
It was her. stepfather, I think it was.
Yeah, I thought it was stepfather. Yeah, that little thread was interesting, but like you said, it was all just overwhelmed with just hey, let's play with our fingers kind of thing. It was less of the meaty stuff and more of the just kind of goofy fun stuff. And I think I needed a little bit more out of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm playing with my fingers. Just the way you said that. It's like, how can you explain that, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh boy. All right, so we all went for our number 5 now?
I believe so.
Okay. And yes, you need to read Paper Girls.
Yeah.
Very good story. And I think you'll probably enjoy it better in trade. I'm pretty sure. Kat, you read it in trade, right? You have, because you have
I've reread it. Yeah, I've reread it in trade. And I think, I mean, it's hard because I just love the books. I loved it in single issues because I wanted to find out what happened next. But yeah, I agree. I think if you want the full story, read it in omnibus. I'm guessing it comes out now. Then you also have the TV show, which is going to be really cool to see how they expand on some of those stories too.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so we're going to move on and talk about a book that I didn't read, and this is Excalibur issue 12.
Yeah, man. I read it because of X of Swords, and I didn't really like it.
Right, exactly. Oh my goodness. I read the first arc and I enjoyed the first arc, but after that I got a little bored with it. And so I dropped it. I picked up this issue because of X of Swords and I was bored to tears. I struggled to get through this issue. The issue was about Apocalypse gathering all the ancient High Lords, the externals, and basically killing them to power a gate. That was like the whole issue, the whole purpose of the issue. And just his explanation of how the mutants have evolved, and it was just so boring. I'm sorry. No offense to the writer, but I couldn't. Yeah.
See, I didn't pick this one up because I knew it was like kind of like a prelude to X Sword. So I was like, I'll wait to pick up Excalibur when it ties all together into the chapters. Yeah. I'm like, that will be the only one.
You're smart.
It does tie into it, like the last page, or you get to see the like pink whatever thing it was. And I guess I got so bored up to that point. I don't really remember what happened in the end. I just remember there was this pink building and that was also an X-Men. I'm like, okay, I guess that has to do with X of Swords. Yeah.
So. To illustrate, not to cut you off, Kat, but to illustrate how boring it was, even the High Lords were telling Apocalypse that, hey, dude, you're talking too much. We've heard this before. We know how the story ends. It's like...
You would think you'd learn your lesson from that. I think it's worthwhile to skip it. It honestly gets me a little less excited for X of Swords. And I'm like, oh, man, it's like this. I don't know if I could pick up 22 issues of this. We'll see.
Right, exactly.
I know. I'll give it a try.
I mean, I'm definitely going to give it a good shot, like a good couple of parts, but we'll see. We do have RJ who says, what's the next big Spec book? Any ideas? I think the next big Spec book is going to be Shang-Chi issue 1. That's my guess because of the new character that's going to show up.
Could be. I think it could be I always go back to Donny Cates and just everything that he's been doing. And I think it could take place in Thor, or it could take place in this whole King in Black situation. We could get a lot going on in that. There could be a lot of speculation happening in that. Who knows? And also with all these, different TV shows coming out and stuff like that, there could be another Spec book for anything. Anything is definitely Spec these days, right? So I even, you guys know I watched Comic Tom 101, and he had a Spec book that came out that they thought of, and it was Sentry issue 4 from Jeff Lemire's run, because the characters or the creatures in there from the void looked like it was possible null. And it was just like, oh my God. And it kind of makes sense, you know? And we also most recently have from the Web of Venom series, the Wraith book, when Null was, I guess, or came out of the prison of symbiotes. There was also this creature of light that was released as well. And we don't know who that is or what it is or if it's going to fight Null. So again, that's something else that's going to be introduced into the future, whether it's a character that's been around, secretly around, or is going to be announced for the first time. So I think that's going to be a big deal too.
Yeah. I actually did. I know I wasn't here last week. I did enjoy Web of Venom Wraith. I did read it, and I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, interesting tie-in to all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know. And then I also, I mean, like I say, I like Donny Cates, everything that he does. That crossover book that he's going to do, I think that has really high potential as well.
Yeah.
AJ thinks issue 25 of Green Lantern is a spec book or is going to be a spec. I don't even know they're up to issue 25. Volume 4, did that already come out?
I thought, yeah, it must be a different, because they're in season 2 of Grant Morrison's right now, right? So it's
exactly.
or something.
So he's probably talking about the whole book.
Yeah.
Is that Jeff Johns? Let's
look it up. Green Lantern, Volume 4, issue.
Yeah, I don't even know what volume we're on at this point.
It is.
Sinestro Corps?
Yeah, it is a Jeff Johns. It is Sinestro Corps, Par 11.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Wonder why that's like a spec book now compared to back then.
I'm not sure. But if it's Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever they make Blackest Night into a movie, then you would think that would be a spec book right there.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. All right.
The problem is with Blackest Night is I think they printed so much, it's a little harder, but never know the sweet spot.
No, you never know. You never do know. All right. So let's talk about. All right. So we talked about 7 Secrets. So we're going to go on to our number 4. And my number 4, believe it or not, is a book we already talked about, and that was Iron Man issue 1. So, Kat, what's yours?
Mine is Stillwater. We already talked about it.
Brand?
Mine is Thor. We did not talk about it, so we can talk about it. This is issue 7, and I just thought it was fun. Just the hammer coming to Oklahoma, that dude finding it, and him writing on it to call Tony Stark and kind of messing with Stark, rewriting stuff on it to mess with him and stuff like that. And then this guy just gets transformed into Thor or something, and we don't know why or how. And I thought this character's back story was interesting. His prison life, and now he's just like this dude that works on cars. It was just a fun issue for me. So not as good as the previous arc, but still fun.
Yeah, it's the beginning of obviously a new arc and a story to come. And I do like how it kind of full circle around from the first issue. I thought that was pretty cool with the whole writing on the Mjolnir thing. I thought that was cool. I love the conversation that he had with Beta Ray Bill. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
he sits there and says, "You need to be my second in command, preparing for the worst." And I thought that was pretty cool. Yes, we have that other character, lifting the hammer and becoming a Thor-like character, which means that anybody and everybody right now can lift that hammer.
Right.
And it's just like Thor is becoming unworthy, and we're possibly getting other chosen people to lift this hammer. It's pretty interesting. I don't know kind of where we're going at this point, but that's what makes this book so good right now,
Yeah. Either that, or it could be that Thor's thinking he's unworthy all this time when really it's the hammer that's messed up.
Maybe.
It could be. So
maybe it's confused. It doesn't know who is who or whatever,
Yeah.
So maybe that's how supposedly this falls in the hands of Thanos.
Thanos, yeah.
They did a lot of referencing to Guardians of the Galaxy back when Beta Ray Bill was in there, and what happened to Thanos. They touched on that, how he got sucked into the black hole, his consciousness was somewhere else. So there's a lot of things that are going to happen in this book. I'm really looking forward to this. I think he's got a lot of story to tell. Curious also to see if this crosses over with any other books or whatnot, Silver Surfer Black or anything like that. But I thought this was a really good book too. All right. So that was Thor. That was your number 4. And so now we're going to talk about Amazing Spider-Man, Sins of Norman Osborn, issue 1, which technically is Amazing Spider-Man issue 50, in my opinion, because
that's why they did that. I didn't even notice. So they did another issue because they wanted the other one to be a big issue, and but we still need another issue. Didn't even notice that.
They should have done one of their point issues they used to do.
Because you actually needed to read this issue. I mean, I'm sure you're going to describe it in the next one, but this is an important issue and cleared up a lot of stuff. And Green Goblin and Spider-Man are teaming up. There's like a lot of information here.
Yeah, and this was a better book. Like this was probably the best one out of this story arc that I liked.
I agree.
You know, and obviously you have all the Spider characters, you know, coming together to do what they want, what they need to do. Spider-Man, Norman Osborn teaming up, secret headquarters under Ravencroft, you know, through the padded cell, which was kind of cool. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a good issue, man. Probably the best issue I've read in a long time. But yeah, very important. You needed to read this to understand what's going on in this story and going forward in the next story arc.
Even to understand the motives of the other Spider characters, because I remember me and Mike were talking about this last week, where I'm like, I don't understand like why they feel like they need to hurt Spider-Man, and then you find out the background of that a bit more here, and there's some really good beats between them. Also, Spider-Woman not knowing Anya's name was funny, which is one of my battles. But yeah, it was a pretty good issue. It didn't make my top 5 this week, but I agree with Mike. It was one of the better issues of this arc for sure.
Yeah, I think the art could have been a little bit stronger. But aside from that, I really did enjoy the actual issue. And the stuff with Norman and just this conflict of, do I help my worst enemy? And then, like you guys said, all the other Spider characters being like, no, don't help him.
Yeah.
You'll end up dead if you do. It's an interesting thread to pull. And it's hopefully going forward, it's more interesting like this issue was, and less like the previous 3 issues. So
we do have a question from Comics Fun. Did the Ravencroft series tie into Spider-Man? Just a little.
Yeah, not
a lot. You don't have to read it.
I think it tied in more to Carnage more than anything, because it tied into Cletus Cassidy's grandfather, something like that. Somewhere in that. I didn't read it myself. I've just heard tidbits about it, but you don't need to read it to understand what's going on in Amazing Spider-Man.
No, there's that Norman Osborn's the head of Ravencroft. That's all you need to know.
So pretty cool. All right, next. I didn't know this came out this week. I didn't get it. It didn't make it in my poll. Teen Titans issue 45.
Yeah, came out this week. Sadly,
what does it look like? Because I need to see if it's still in the comic shop.
That's the cover.
Totally missed it, man.
It wasn't the best issue of the series, to be honest.
No, it's just slugging by. I think there's some good character moments in it. Like, I really like Crush and Roundhouse being friends. I think I
love their friendship. That was the best part of this issue, I think, and just still teasing the love. Not the love, but the possible relationship with romance. That's what I was trying to. Couldn't think of the word between Emiko and Wallace. But yeah, those parts were really good. But the plot of the issue, like the villain they were facing, which was Gizmo and his horde of toys and that kind of stuff, was kind of just it was there.
I like that they are questioning that Damian's involved with it, which was pretty cool. But yeah, the villain wasn't very interesting. And like I said, this book is definitely just like waiting to end.
Yeah.
But you're still getting moments from the characters, and I'm gonna pick up the Endless Winter one shot because at least we're gonna have one more story after that.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
this is playing right after the annual, right?
Yeah. They're like Kat said, they think Damian's involved and stuff, and Red Hood shows up, and he's like, "Leave Damian to me," and that's kind of where that leaves off. So yeah, they'll pick that up somewhere else, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. They'll probably have it at the shop tomorrow, and then I'll end up picking it up.
Yeah, I don't think that one's selling out.
No.
Well, unfortunately, it's not, but we loved it here. So,
yeah,
absolutely.
Until the next Teen Titans book comes out, we'll see. But Teen Titans is a property I think they need to keep that because it's everywhere, man. Teen Titans has been around for eons in DC Comics, and whether you're old fan, new fan, and then you look at TV, cartoons, I just think they need to have a comic when it comes to Teen Titans.
We have another question.
There you go.
You can read it.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not gonna.
Oh, that's true. I'll read it for you, Brett. So what the fuck is Endless Winter supposed to be about? Is this the Damian Wayne event thing? Not a Damian Wayne event, but I also don't know what the fuck Endless Winter
I don't think anybody knows.
We've gotten some, obviously all jokes aside, we've gotten some information about it. It looks like Vikings are coming. I don't know. It doesn't quite interest me.
What it looks like to me is DC trying to do War of the Realms in the winter. That's kind of that's the vibe I got from it. But yeah, basically some kind of I'm assuming some kind of ice-based character is involved with this, or it's like the whole world is turning to ice or something. And I don't know. We've only got tidbits about it, so we don't.
It's a holding pattern. It's what it is. It's a holding pattern until DC wants to come up with what they're going to do next. That's basically what it is. Gives them time to make series or create something or get things on the table. And that's what it is for the entire month of December for them.
Which is so ironic that it's a book about like freezing things and they're like they're like frozen in place with their own stories at the same time as they try to come up with new ones.
It's a commentary on their own current situation.
Yeah, that's what it's actually about.
Yeah.
It's the subtext.
We got another comment. I think RJ said, "Glad I'm not the only one. I just see it advertised in almost every book I've heard that Tynion had been told to hold off on using Damian for certain stuff during Joker War due to the event coming next."
Oh.
So maybe he's involved. Nothing that we know about right now.
Right. So, I mean, in my eyes, maybe Endless Winter will be the best comic event of the year. And we all laughed at it,
Yeah. It's happened before.
Right. Like,
it has. Rarely, but
I mean, but do you remember Black Vortex? Like,
yeah, true. That was
that's true. Yeah.
And that actually was a really good event. Like, that really exceeded our expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe others don't agree with us, but us as a group, we really like that book. So you never know. All right. So next,
I just want to. Sweet, we're not trying to hate on DC. We're really not. We want it to be good, and we like some other stuff. It's just, for me, it's certain things just aren't connecting right now. And
Go
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it all just depends on what's going on with the companies right now. DC, I think, has a lot of rough terrain, and it's something we've done with Marvel. It's something we've done with the indies. It definitely, and we've talked about books we did like from DC, like Batman. We're all really enjoying Batman right now. We're talking about Teen Titans that we enjoyed. Hopefully next week we'll talk about Suicide Squad we really enjoyed. But it's also a little hard because there's not a lot of books coming out from them. So
Three Jokers. I mean, we love Three Jokers. We all like that a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean. some of the stuff they have is good. It's just unfortunate that for me, I'm upset that they're canceling more stuff. Like I wanted to jump on Batman Beyond. I said this last week, and what are they doing? They're canceling it. Why? Why do you need to cancel Batman Beyond? Like it just blows my mind. There's virtually nothing left to read at this point. And that's what's frustrating, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think that's why it is what it is right now. How we're talking about, just because we're also critics as well, and we try to look at the positives and negatives, and right now, sadly, there's been some negatives over there.
Yeah, and also it's like all of us have certain characters that we like, and unfortunately, some of those characters either don't have books or we're not enjoying the current stories that they're being told. Like Mike's a huge Green Lantern fan. I don't guess you're enjoying Grant Morrison's run though. So
I haven't even read it.
Haven't even read it. Yeah,
it's not the same. It's just like I believe in all the Green Lanterns being in the Green Lantern book, and unfortunately, for the most part, it's just How in there, and it's not. I don't like that version of How. I don't like that weirdness. You know, I loved Kyle Rayner. That's what I liked back in the early days of that. And I loved how Jordan, the way, Jeff Johns wrote him. I even liked Robert Vendetti's Hal Jordan. Like, I even liked that. Not when he was like, when he went all rogue and had that gauntlet and everything, but after that fact, like, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But now it's just, you have all these characters and they're just left on the table. They're just sitting there. And that's just very unfortunate, you know? And again, the Green Lanterns are not the only one. There's a ton of other lanterns out there that are not being used. And this is going back now to just all the DC characters that are not being used or not being written. And that's just a sad thing. And that's very upsetting.
I think Sweet also mentioned earlier, Endless Winter is just going to be going into the reboot next year. That's also the issue. We know there's no reboot next year.
There's no
it
reboot.
Is confirmed that there is no reboot. So that's why, like, you scratch your head, like, where's this going?
So why are they canceling everything? Yeah.
And why are they only focusing on digital books? And like, as people that really like physical books, it's kind of hard to see that. And it's a new generation of comics. It's a new thing. And we're all trying to transition to it. And I personally don't think what DC has been doing is helpful for the comic book community. It's helpful for DC, but I don't think it's helpful for comics. And I think that's also kind of in the struggle as well.
Yeah.
I definitely see that too. So, all right. Well, any other comments that we have in here? We got a lot of chat on there. Let's see.
Yeah, I've been trying to share them. No questions yet, but if you guys have any questions, let us know. We love answering them.
Yeah. All right, so let's go forward. So we talked about Teen Titans, right? So we're going to move on to number 3, and my number 3 was a DC book, and it was Batman issue 99. Like I said, there's no hate on Batman and anything Batman related for the most part when it comes to me. So, and DC knows that Batman sells, so they're going to continue to make that Batman product, you know. So that was mine. Kat, what was yours?
Mine was Iron Man, so we discussed it already.
Brant?
Mine was also Iron Man.
Ooh. So Iron Man gets some love tonight. All right, so let's move on. We talked about Dead Day, issue number 3. Black Manta says, I don't get why they would cancel Harley Quinn either, since she is the Deadpool of DC. Again, that's what's everyone is scratching their head about. Like, we don't know what's going on because Harley's canceled, right? Batgirl's canceled.
Suicide Squad
is canceled. Suicide Squad canceled. Teen Titans canceled. Green Arrows canceled. Deathstroke canceled. Supergirl canceled. Like, just listen to that, right? We've had Green Lantern. Huh?
There's no books left.
Yeah. Green Lantern Corps canceled. You don't have anything. And so that's why it's so frustrating. Instead, you have Batman, Death Metal, Endless Winter. That's it. And maybe a bunch of one-shots that I think are coming out also.
Yeah, Wonder Woman and Flash, but yeah.
Yeah. You got Wonder Woman, who just got a new creative team. Flash is getting a new creative team. Red Hood, which I've said this already, I'm jumping back on again because we're getting a new creative team for that. So I'm legit giving DC every chance there is. Like, if a book is starting again or getting a new creative team, I'm trying it. But every time I seem to try something, they're like, well, just kidding, it's getting canceled this week. So, again, we'll see what happens with this. All right.
People watching, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you guys. Awesome. Really appreciate it. You know, that means a lot, you know. And I know someone said, you know, thanks for the honest answer. And that's all we are. We're just trying to be honest. We're not dogging, or we don't hate. We want the comic industry to thrive. We want these things to do well.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't really dog. Me personally, I don't dog on particular comics. I just will disagree on how things are being run and if I'm happy with that or not. You know, I'll do the same thing for Marvel. We all discussed it with Marvel when it came to their whole legacy numbering, and they're all new, all different. Remember when we talked about that and X-Men Gold, and like we went on and on about that stuff.
Even just we didn't like Excalibur today, and me and Brant discussed that it was boring. We're worried about X-Swords. So I think one thing that we take pride in on this channel is like, yes, of course we have our favorite characters, we have our favorite favorite franchises, but we really do try to be very honest and open about both companies. We don't play any bias. We just see what's a good story, and we talk about a good story or where we see faults in what a company is doing or what a series is doing.
Yeah, and more times than not, we try to find the positives in anything. You know, sometimes things just don't connect with you. We're all individuals with individual opinions and tastes and styles and that kind of thing. So not everything's going to resonate with all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Jesus says, if DC cancels more comics, Image has some pretty cool comics too. That's exactly. Right. The one thing that I hear, and I'll say this here, now that we have a lot of people watching, is, and I said this before in a video, I see other people talk about comics and they trash comics. I mean, trash them. And there's so much negativity that it's up to the point of, why are you reading these comics if everything you read is you hate, right? And if you don't like it and you're looking for something different, go read independent comics, because that's original stuff, right? And so I feel, and I know you guys feel, that there's something out there for everybody. But if you don't like something, you're opinionated to it, that's great. But you don't have to trash it to the point where you say it's garbage and it's trash and you curse it out and you hate the artist or the writer for it. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, how do you hate a human being? It's just like, if you don't like it, then move on with your life. And yeah, I think that's what's so cool about the comic book medium, just what Mike said. Like, if you don't like Marvel or DC, there's indie comics that are telling superhero stories. Like, there's a new Steve Orlando book. It's going to be a superhero book. Everyone says it's great. It's from Image Comics. So it's like, even if you're just like, oh, well, indie's only slice of life, it's only horror, it's like everything but superheroes. You have books like Invincible. You have superhero books in the indie world. Or you can go way past that and look on Kickstarter and see how awesome books are over there. So yeah, I don't see the point of complaining. If you don't like what's going on with Batman right now, then don't freaking read Batman and wait until another writer comes on. Like, the complaints. And I agree. I feel like this, in anything, there's too much negativity, and we got to try to bring the positive and talk about the things that we love and like. And I wish there was more of that.
Right. I mean, you got to understand that we are comic book readers, right? But we're not the only comic book readers. And in order to make this medium grow or continue, is we have to attract new readers. So if that's the younger generation and we have to write towards that younger generation, then let those writers do that, because that's how this medium is going to continue to thrive on. If not, then it's going to crash and burn like everyone predicts that they say that it's going to happen. All comic books are going to die. This is going to happen. It's because you, the people out there, are putting all this negativity out there for it. If there is a negative comic or something that you don't like, find the positive in it and at least say something about that.
Or again, don't read it or don't talk about it. You know, it's just like, if you really don't like a book, just don't mention it. Right. And even if there's a negative, there's a way to talk. Like, again, we didn't like Excalibur. We said, oh, it was boring. But we said, oh, maybe because it's the reason we weren't reading that book and it wasn't our flavor. And I think there's a way to say criticism without saying it's shit, it's horrible, because nothing's shit or horrible. Someone put in their time and effort to do it, and they put their best efforts into it. So nothing's bad or horrible. It just might not be your taste, and that's okay. And then I going back to what you're saying, Mike, like people say, yeah, comic books are dead because of SJW, blah, blah, blah. We could go into that all day, but it's just like comic books are not dead, even if, let's say, comic book shops close. Let's say Marvel or DC aren't around anymore. Comic books are still not dead, because look at webtoons, look at tapas, look at these young kids, millions of views these things are getting. That's a comic book. It might not be a physical comic book, might not be the comic you're used to, but it's still a comic. So comics aren't dead. I just think that the way we read them and consume them might be different in the next 5 years, which, you know, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I don't think comics will ever be dead.
Yeah. I don't know. You see young kids seeing these, you know, see us on TV or other comic book reviewers on, you know, on YouTube, and they say, oh, this comic is trash, this is garbage, and this is that, and this is that. Why is a young kid going to want to pick up a comic book, right? Why are they going to spend that $5? Oh, I'm not spending my $4 on this, you know? So by you putting out that negative energy, that detracts from people picking up this stuff. So try to find the positive in books. Talk about the good books, you know? If there's something that's not that great, that's fine to let people aware that maybe a book is not great, but let's do it in a tasteful way. There's a way to do it, right? So, all right, I'll get off my soapbox. I'll let you guys get off yours too. It's just something that bugs me when I see it sometimes, you know. All right, so let's see where we at. I don't even know where we're at.
Oh, your mic is a little whatever it's called again. Let's see. He'll come back and hopefully it'll be better.
Yeah, I think we're getting ready to talk about X-Men, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably X-Men, which I sadly didn't like that much this week. I think because, I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of losing. We're talking about X-Men, I think. So we're again.
X-Men?
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at.
Okay. So, let's talk about it. X-Men issue 12.
Issue 12. Yeah, I was just saying, I feel like it. I don't know how to feel about X's stories. I thought it was a little drawn out. It was really exposition heavy. And I just want to see the main X-Men. It's been a little bit too long since we've seen them.
Yeah. I think this was obviously a lead in or to get you to understand why this is going to happen. And I think it was a lot to digest, in my opinion, right? I just felt like it's like, hey, I'm the Sumner. This is my land. These are my people. This is what happened. And so you're kind of just like, wow, there's a lot going on here. You know, we talk a little bit about a sword, and then Apocalypse is like, oh, well, I'm going to do this and that. So I don't know. This is a hard one for me. I want to really get excited for this, but then I'm afraid that I might get let down a little bit. But I kind of trust Hickman, because when it came to Dawn of X and House of X, I was like, all right, we'll see what he has. And I loved it, right? I thought it was really well done. So this could surprise us. And I think maybe
I hope so.
I think the lead-in into this was a little bit, you know, confusing or overwhelming, but I don't know. We'll see.
The lead-in hasn't excited me, and I think that's what Guy was saying too. That's the problem, that I'm like you, Mike. I want to be excited about it. I want to,
Right.
it sounds cool. All these swords, what does this mean? It sounds kind of cool conceptually, but yeah, this issue was better than Excalibur, but it was still like a lot of, like Kat said, a lot of exposition, a lot of history, trying to inform you to get you up to speed with this event. And yeah, so it was not quite as enjoyable as I had hoped it would be. So.
It's interesting because this other half of Krakoa that attached itself to it is really the summoner's like other land, right? It's like he's come from this other world basically, and somehow now they found a way to go back in there and kind of reclaim that land. I guess that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
How they do that, the journey through that, I don't know. It's up in the air, but we'll see what happens with it, I guess, right?
Yeah. It is interesting about his mom, like how that comes into play and all this stuff in the lineage there. It's some interesting stuff. It just wasn't presented in the most interesting way.
Right. We kind of felt this way towards Empire, right? When we read that initial part where the scroll was like had a tree growing out from his mouth, and we're like, what is this? Right. And then for me, when it came to Empire Avengers issue 0 and Empire Fantastic Four issue 0, that did nothing for me. For Empire, it made me not want to read the event at all. And then when I got to the event, I really enjoyed it. So hopefully this kind of is the same thing.
Yeah.
We did have a question from Jacob. Is all the X-Men titles tying into X of Swords? Yes.
Yep.
All of them.
Every single one.
So it's a chapter at a time. So each book is a chapter. So if you were reading all of the X books to begin with, you're good, right?
Yeah.
But are you?
Yeah. But were you?
Yeah.
I was reading 2, and that's it. So
for 90s readers, it's like, and I've made this comparison before, it's like Executioner's Song. It's like
exactly
one part
exactly
in one book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even because I just did an article about this, Batman No Man's Land. That went on for a year, and it was like every title, and you had to really read every issue. So I was only reading Marauders and X-Men. So we're gonna see how this goes, and I will not drop Marauders and X-Men. I might either have to read every part, which just seems like is what I'm doing. If I really don't like it, I might just have to be really lost when I read Marauders and X-Men.
So I currently read Marauders, X-Men, X-Force, Wolverine, Hellions. I guess I started reading that. Trying to remember what else there was. I don't even know.
X Factor.
X Factor. I didn't like that, so I didn't read that.
Yeah, X Factor.
No Excalibur. No New Mutants.
Yeah. I think I'm currently reading X Factor, X-Men, and Marauders. I dropped X-Force. So I think that's the only 3 I'm reading.
Cable's out too. Forgot about that.
Oh yeah, Cable.
I read Cable, so I'm reading 3.
Yeah. So there'll be some extra books in your list, I guess, if you want to, get into this story and see what it's about. I'll check it out. Why not? What the heck? Unless it gets really bad, then I'll stop it.
Right.
But, we'll see what happens. All right. So that was the X-Men talk. So let's go on to number 2. Kat, what was your number 2?
Mine was Batman. I already talked about it.
Okay. Brant, what was yours?
7 Secrets.
My number 2 was Stillwater. It's so funny how Stillwater was all in our number 5. It was like in different places, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we all had a pretty similar top 5 this week.
Mm-hmm.
Just all in different
places,
arrangements.
Right? Yeah. All right. And so we talked about Thor, so we'll just jump right into our number 1 book. My number 1 was Thor. And what was yours, Brad?
Batman.
Batman, and then Kat.
Mine was Seven Secrets.
There it is. So we all had the same books, but in different slots. That's pretty
so
cool. Because I read almost 19 books this week.
Yeah, I read 16, I think.
I think I read the least. I think I read like 13. Let me see. I read 12.
Did you? 12? Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I read like 5 or 6 of them today. It's kind of weird because it's like last week on Thursday, I read like half of my books. And then I really didn't read anymore. I think I read Spiderman. And then I didn't read the rest of them until today. So I was like, shit, man, hopefully I can remember what happened in these books, you know?
Yeah.
I had such a crazy weekend these past few days. But yeah, so it was crazy. But now we're going to go on to the chopping block. And who put down Excalibur there?
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, if you're reading X of Swords, you can't chop Excalibur.
I know, but I don't know. I was so upset with this issue. I was so bored that I was like, I'm gonna put it down, dropping it again. And I wasn't thinking, but yeah, we'll see.
The thing is like if you're going to drop any X title, you might as well drop all of them until X of Swords is over.
Can't drop that Kitty Pryde Marauders though.
Yeah.
Come on. Can't drop. She's gonna get a girlfriend in between all of this if you drop Marauders.
I'll have to see like which part of the story the first tie-in for Excalibur is, and I'm enjoying it to that point. So if I'm not, then yeah, it's dropped. So
I think after creation, oh god, I forgot where it was, because we're on my website on leagueofcomicgeeks.com where I go to get my information.
Yeah.
And it gives you the description of the book. It tells you where that particular issue takes place and then where it takes place next. So it's kind of interesting. So I want to say that the next one takes place in X Factor, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong.
I actually could check my list. Let me see. Because X of Swords comes out this week.
It's X Factor.
And that's all X-Men.
Yeah, X Factor, right?
X Factor, Wolverine, X-Force, Marauders, Hellions, New Mutants, Cable. Excalibur's part 9, so I have plenty of time.
You do.
to decide if I'm going to drop it. Yeah. So there you go.
All right. So I guess now, Brand, I'm going to hand it over to you. We're going to talk about some of the key issues or most anticipated books that we're looking forward to next week.
Yeah. These books could potentially be key issues at some point. We don't know. We'll find out. So we're talking about
issues in our heart.
Yeah, they're key issues in our heart. We're already talking about it. So X of Swords creation, number 1. That's part 1 of the event. So we're all going to try that one and see if we dig it or not. So what are you going to say, Kat?
I was just going to say, we'll see. I don't think I have more comments than that because I feel like we've already dogged on X of Swords enough.
All right. Something that we're all positive about, Spider-Woman number 4.
Oh, that cliffhanger was so good.
Yeah, so good. I can't wait to see like what happens from that point. Like, it's just a whole new world for her now. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, for the viewers out there, if you guys didn't know, like, spoiler, Spider-Woman, Jessica, finds out that she has a brother. Her brother
and a niece.
And a niece.
Yeah.
And they're all 3 of them are on this adventure together, and the brother has powers.
Yeah.
So that made for a quite interesting cliffhanger, and you found that out at the end of the last issue. Yeah. So if you want to find out,
and the mom's still alive too. Yeah. That's another thing we found out.
So if you want to find out what's going on going forward, go ahead and pick that next issue up.
Yeah. And I think Spider-Woman is a really good example of how, again, 2 different writers could take Spider-Woman in a different direction but still be really good, and even have elements from the previous run if you decide to do so. Like, we loved Dennis Hopeless's Spider-Woman. It was great. And, one thing I loved about it was her relationship with Roger. And even though we don't see Roger as much, he's still in this book somewhat. And he's still, still canon that Roger and Spider-Woman are going out.
And her baby.
And her baby, Jerry's still around as well. But then you have this totally new story and seeing her family and something that wasn't touched upon in the last series. So it's kind of cool to see the different takes, and both are really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. All right, we also got Batgirl number 49 continuing the Joker War stuff and how it's affecting her and her family. Interesting stuff happening with her and her brother and her father. Their whole family is just kind of like broken apart right now. As
always. Yeah. I like this last arc, so hopefully it sticks the landing with issue 50.
Yeah. Then we have two number ones. We got Juggernaut number 1. Juggernaut's getting his own book. That's interesting because he's it's got to be interesting being in the mutants world your entire life, but then you can't be on the mutant island. So hopefully they explore some of that. Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because when I did my most anticipated video last week, I called him a mutant, and I knew he's not a mutant, but you're so used to, and people made that comment. They're like, Juggernaut's not a mutant. It's done by magic. And like, I knew that, but it's like, you're so used to him being around all the mutants. It's like, you kind of already consider him a mutant by default.
Yeah, I mean, he was part of the X-Men at one point, even. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of hard not to make that connection. Let's see, and we also got Immortal She-Hulk number 1. I'm actually going to give it a shot.
Excited. I'm so excited for this book because she's the one Hulk character that really hasn't been involved in Immortal, which is crazy because she's gone through stuff that she should be involved in Immortal. Like she's died, PTSD, all this crazy stuff. So I am really curious about where this is going to go. And Alan Wing is writing this. So it's not another writer. They're not doing another, just the title to use it. It's like part of the story, which is cool.
Yeah.
And like in Empire, she supposedly died too.
Again.
And so she died again. So like, what effect does that have on her now?
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then maybe we'll get some answers where she goes in the future. Like, I really hope we get that. I hope it's not like the end ? Yeah. Type of thing. Because I want her to have her own book back or be involved somewhere.
Yeah, I wonder if, because I don't read Immortal Hulk, so I don't know like what the vibe is and all that stuff over there. But I wonder if they'll address Thor at all in Immortal She-Hulk, because they got that whole empire.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but if we're gonna get a She-Hulk TV show, she's definitely got to come back.
Yeah.
And Brant froze.
Yeah, I think he froze up. Yeah. Oh, I think you're
slow motion.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're good. I think you're good now.
Okay. So we just have one more. Suicide Squad number 9, which we're all fans of and sad to see it go. Hopefully it's a good issue.
I mean, this is supposed to be when Deadshot dies, so we'll see if that actually happens.
You're right. So definitely could for sure.
Yeah, this is going to be tough, man. If this really does happen, and then the series kind of ends, and you're wondering, okay, well, where's Deadshot, right? I mean, and again, it's another book that we're losing, unfortunately. And this is a book I love.
Yeah, good artwork too. So I think that wraps us up. So we're going to pass on to Mike to close out the show, get all those banners up.
All right. Yeah, guys. So this is it. This is the end of the show. So we appreciate all of you watching. Thank you for all the viewers taking the time to watch us tonight, and also the post viewers for watching after the fact. Thank you for all your comments, your questions. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Any of you guys have anything else to say?
I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. So until next time, guys, this is Comic Frontline and Comic Book Corner 2.0 signing off. Thanks for watching, and see you next week, everyone. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye, everybody.